power space overall. But Dr. Reddy's is under pressure after the brokerage house Antique, which accessed the US FDA observations for the Bachupally unit, believes a warning letter is likely for the unit, which manufactures 4 of the top 10 products. We have Nimish Mehta, founding partner at Research Delta Advisors, who joins us now. Nimish, thanks a lot for joining in. How severe do you think these observations are? And from a retail investor standpoint, right? I mean, the stock has already fallen quite a bit. Do you think this is a good buying opportunity, or would you be cautious now?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. Firstly, let's try to understand the gravity of the situation, as in the impact of the facility on the company is going to be high, in the sense that more than half of the products, purely in terms of number of products, are being manufactured from this facility, and roughly half of the US sales, as per our estimate, is being manufactured from this facility. So to that extent, this is an important facility. About the observations, I mean, the number of observations are quite a few. So that kind of raises an alarm. But when we go down the details, personally, I don't see that much severity in the observations. I mean, it's about not following procedures, not cleaning the utensils, and not conforming to the written specifications and stuff like that. Which I mean, obviously, the company will have to address it, but not sure whether this might get converted into a warning letter or so. So I won't read too much into the observation, although the number is too high.
Okay, all right. But Nimish, the stock is down 5% post the observations becoming public. So I'm sure the street fears that there could be some amount of escalation. Based on the possibility that there is maybe, an escalation which takes place, whatever it is, maybe the next port of call will be an official action indicated status or a classification of the facility. But say it is a worst case scenario, what are the future approvals which could get impacted? Any key drugs which are filed from this facility?
It's hard to get the future approvals being filed from this list. But clearly, I mean, there are important products which are being manufactured, and only in case of an import alert that will get impacted. Otherwise, even for a warning letter, I think the manufacturing of these products will continue. As far as I understand, I mean, Dr. Reddy's focus largely is on injectables henceforth. So from that perspective, I would generally assume that the future filings may not have too much dependence on this facility. But that's just an assumption, as I mentioned. We really don't have the pipeline from this facility.
Okay. In terms of the current production from the plant, how important is it? Because, we have heard of companies stopping certain production of drugs in order to complete the remediation, to ensure that there's no kind of escalation that takes place. So how important is this particular facility to Dr. Reddy's?
Yes, so it is a very important, I think one of the most important facility for Dr. Reddy's. As I mentioned, our estimate tells us that roughly 50% of the US sales actually is being generated from this facility. And there are products, some of the large products for Dr. Reddy's are Docnol XL, Zanaflex, Lamictal, and there are also some low competition products that they manufacture, like Vimovo and Divalproex sodium. So from that perspective, I think it's an important facility, no doubt about it. And any impact because of remediation on any of these products will mean that Dr. Reddy's sales and margin obviously may go down significantly. I mean, it would be more in proportion, and the margin fall would be more in proportion of the sales fall. That is quite likely. If the remediation takes away some of the products, or discontinues some of the products. So it's an important, no question about it, and which is what I think the market is also responding to. That's what we believe.
All right, what about the earnings itself? I mean, X of this issue, right, this US FDA issue, how are you feeling about the earnings profile for Dr. Reddy's? And given a situation, if this gets resolved, do you think this is a good time to be sort of buying into a stock like this?
Well, I mean, we won't be able to comment on the stock recommendation per se, but all in all, what we understand is that the market has to take into consideration the GMP issue as and when it comes. And technically, purely from a tactical perspective, it's always good to enter a good company at a bad time, and especially for FDA, I mean, for pharma companies, FDA warning or FDA issue, GMP issues generally has proven to be a good entry point for anyone who also wants to. But I mean, obviously, this does not take into consideration the future product pipeline and all of those things. But as a general observation is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. Well, Nimish, since we have you with us, I just wanted to ask you about this Wockhardt news which has come out. Everybody looks at their new chemical entity or NCE portfolio quite closely. So they've issued, a press release to the exchanges indicating that they've successfully completed phase 3 study of their NCE, nafithromycin, which is WCK4873 for pneumonia. And, the stock is shot up around 11%. They've indicated that the phase 3 is in line with the phase 2 study that they've conducted in US and Europe. Any view on this? How long a road would it be for Wockhardt for it to probably commercialize this drug anywhere, considering the kind of results that it's showing?
Well, again, I don't have the details of the press release per se, but if it is a phase 3 trial that they've conducted in US and assuming that the trial results are very exciting, this could be an important opportunity, especially given the fact that, we are seeing some kind of a, pandemic type situation in China related to pneumonia. And that might be the case if this drug comes out, and I don't know, again, I don't know the trial result, but if that happens to be more effective there, then there could be some opportunity. But it would be a long road, given the fact that these are diseases which are not found too much in developed nations. And hence, to that extent, the overall opportunity will remain limited to whatever we see in other countries. And that would also, again, be dependent on such extraordinary situations. So it can be a meaningful product, but only if certain things certain developments happen in that space in the less developed countries or something like that.
Okay, all right. Well, they have indicated that the potency of this particular drug is 10 to 100 times higher for certain respiratory pathogens. Wockhardt is the stock that I'm talking about. That stock is, shot up 16% after this news which has come out with regards to nafithromycin and the kind of results that they've shown in the phase 3, something that we should definitely highlight, up around 17% for that particular counter just in the past couple of minutes. Important, Sonia, because, they are doing a lot of work in the space where there are, the end treatments of particular diseases are not successful. So their drugs are, trying to fight those kind of antimicrobial resistance or AMR, where antibiotics don't work. So they're coming out with even more powerful antibiotics to fight those diseases. And that's the reason why you're seeing the stock up 16%, because they're showing successful results in these drugs.
Okay, that's a big move coming in on Wockhardt, one of the big stocks in the last 1 hour or so. Keep an eye out on that, 16% higher, and more details coming through in a bit. Let's take a short break.